Howdy, y'all. This is Proverbs 13 in the NLT for August 13th, 2023. A wise child accepts a parent's discipline. A mocker refuses to listen to correction. Wise words will win you a good meal, but treacherous people have an appetite for violence. Those who control their tongue will have a long life. Opening your mouth can ruin everything. Lazy people want much, but get little. But those who work hard will prosper. The godly hate lies. The wicked cause shame and disgrace. Godliness guards the path of the blameless, but the evil are misled by sin. Some who are poor pretend to be rich. Others who are rich pretend to be poor. The rich can pay a ransom for their lives, but the poor won't even get threatened. The life of the godly is full of light and joy, but the light of the wicked will be snuffed out. Pride leads to conflict. Those who take advice are wise. Wealth from get-rich-quick schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. People who despise advice are asking for trouble. Those who respect a command will succeed. The instruction of the wise is like a life-giving fountain. Those who accept it avoid the snares of death. A person with good sense is respected. A treacherous person is headed for destruction. Wise people think before they act. Fools don't, and even brag about their foolishness. An unreliable messenger stumbles into trouble, but a reliable messenger brings healing. If you ignore criticism, you will end in poverty and disgrace. If you accept correction, you'll be honored. It's pleasant to see dreams come true, but fools refuse to turn from evil to attain them. Walk with the wise and become wise. Associate with fools and get in trouble. Trouble chases sinners while blessings reward the righteous. Good people leave an inheritance to their grandchildren, but the sinner's wealth passes to the godly. A poor person's farm may produce much food, but injustice sweeps it all away. Those who spare the rod of discipline hate their children. Those who love their children care enough to discipline them. The godly eat to their heart's content, but the belly of the wicked goes hungry. Again, the NLT coming through with child instead of a wise son accepts his father's discipline. A little more bipartisan. As in the Greek version, the Hebrew reads the way of the treacherous is lasting. It's 13:15. So that's a person with good sense is respected. A treacherous person is headed for destruction. Or a person with good sense is respected. The way of the treacherous is lasting. So what? They're stuck in their ways? So this whole chapter is an exhortation, right? Listen, kiddo. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. You're going to get wealth. You're going to get honor. You're going to live a long life. You're going to stay away from evil. Just listen to what I got to say, right? Treacherous people have an appetite for violence. They always want to argue. They always want a confrontation because they got to be right, even if it's foolishness, right? I feel this. Homies, whoever's watching this, those who control their tongue will have a long life. Opening your mouth can ruin everything. To that effect, I should probably be dead a couple times over for the way I run my mouth. Thank the Lord that in my justification on this planet, or sorry, I guess it'd be sanctification, I'm learning to control my tongue a little bit better, day by day. One day at a time, right? As the saying goes. But in Christ, not in myself. Otherwise, I'd just keep failing. And lazy people want much, but get little. Those who work hard will prosper. Yeah, it's good to have big dreams, but just laying in bed dreaming is not going to get you from A to B. You got to take the steps to make the journey. You can't just imagine what the destination will be like, no matter how much New Age manifest and nonsense you're listening to. There's something to be said for positive programming. Self-fulfilling prophecy is a real thing in psychology. So we want to put out positive prophecy for ourselves. And I'm using that in the psychological term here, not in the biblical prophecy, false prophecy, and prophecy out of our own hearts. I'm saying that telling yourself good intentions, telling yourself things, setting goals, visualizing, these are all good things. Assuming that you can just manifest it by changing reality doing this, it's not biblical, fam. This is what I'm saying. Godliness guards the path of the blameless, but the evil are misled. The life of the godly is full of light and joy, but the light of the wicked will be snuffed out. Pride leads to conflict. Those who take advice are wise. Right back to the top, right? That, I don't want to misquote, the treacherous people have an appetite for violence. And yeah, sure, I mean, especially like look at the crypto scene over the last 5 years, 10 years. It would have been easy to make a lot of money scamming people, right? And a lot of people did, but that's not the right way. Sorry, I'm looking at where this camera's focusing. It's decided to do its own thing, unfortunately. Yeah, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a dream fulfilled is a tree of life. But we can't just dream. Wealth from hard work grows over time. The instruction of the wise is like a life-giving fountain. Those who accept it avoid the snares of death. Listen to the older people in your life. Listen to the people who have been there. I'm going to end up stopping this video, tapping on this phone like this. Whatever. If it's focused on the ceiling and I'm a little blurry, I apologize. Hopefully you're listening to this for my words and not just for my crazy bearded face, right? Wise people, they think before they act. Fools don't, when they even brag about it. And this, an unreliable messenger stumbles into trouble, but a reliable messenger brings healing. I've been through this before at this point. There was a lot of money on the line. And you know what that person did? Stir up strife instead of trying to deliver the message in the spirit that it was given. Choose who you associate with. Hey, case in point 20. Walk with the wise, become wise. Associate with fools, get in trouble. You know what's good? Reading the Bible, reading books from smart people, listening to smart people that have read other books and read the Bible and are trying to give you truth. People that are in your life that come beside you and say, hey, this is what I notice. Listen to me. Don't ignore criticism. If you accept correction, you'll be honored. Trouble chases sinners. But blessings reward the righteous. We see this, the poor person's farm may produce much food, but injustice sweeps it away. Wherever there are people with empty space, especially poor communities, there are gardens, right? In more affluent communities, like where I'm at right now, I see a community garden. It's more like people who are interested in that sort of thing. But where there's like truly need, the people are doing everything they can to utilize the space. And what happens? People steal it. People take the food that's not meant for them, or do it without permission, or destroy the stuff. Developers see that the land has been made nice, and so they do their own thing with it and lock those people out. Seen it a number of times. Injustice. Those who spare the rod of discipline hate their children. Those who love their children care enough to discipline them. This is part of the crisis of our youth, right? As so many kids growing up without a father in the home, and mom's busy working, so then at the end of the day, their kids are raising themselves on TikTok and whatever else, and there's nobody to really lay it down on them and to hold them accountable. And I'm not bagging on moms and single moms. I'm just saying, like, when you've got your hands full like that, you can't be everything to everyone. And we both fulfill unique roles in our kids' lives and each other's lives. So little girls need their father to show them love and what proper respect and affection looks like. Little boys need their father to show them what a man looks like and how to treat little girls and ladies. It's part of discipline. It's just cultivating discipline. It doesn't mean always like harsh discipline. It's just like we refer to discipline to ourselves, motivation. I'm super motivated. Well, guess what? That fizzles out real fast, unless you're an exceptional person or have tapped into some source that the others of us have not been able to hang on to. Instead, you cultivate the discipline within yourself. You scaffold yourself up to be able to do this as a habit and do it more and do it better. And it's no different with how we raise our kids. My kids are watching me fail all the time, but the important part is to acknowledge to them, Daddy messed up here. I should have handled it this way. I should have said this. I should have done that. I should have acted in this way. They need to see me cultivate discipline so that they know how to cultivate discipline in themselves. And the Lord will rebuke us, right? Pastor Mike said today, the Lord never, Jesus doesn't come to condemn us, but he does come to confront us. And we need to know the difference. And we need to turn away from our evil and our foolishness and our folly and accept that instruction, accept that rebuke, and be disciplined by our Father. It's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, right? Gosling, in this case, with the illustration. I digress. The godly eat to their heart's content, but the belly of the wicked go hungry. Doesn't matter how much riches you get. Doesn't matter the clout, the fame, the house, the car, whatever you get. If you don't have the love of Jesus inside you, you're going to feel that black hole, that void, and you're going to keep trying to fill it. And you know what? It gets just like a black hole. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You will never ever fill it. And I think, especially in this culture, in our consumer society, that's why we have such a high suicide rate. I've been everywhere, done everything, tried everything. I bought all the stuff. Why am I not happy? What else? Church was great, as usual. We've split the difference, I think, now. Now we do DBC, kind of community Bible study for the first half, and then Mike brought it together for the second half today. Where are we? John 20? So it's interesting that the disciples don't recognize Jesus when he appears to them after the resurrection. It takes Jesus doing a miracle for them to be like, that was Jesus. So before, he told them, cast your nets on the other side. They pulled up and the nets were ripping, right? Because they had so much fish. In this story, after the resurrection, I sympathize with Peter, right? And the other disciples, because it was dark. They were alone. They had still experienced Jesus, but they didn't know what to do. They didn't really have their marching orders or have themselves together. And Peter, being a man of work, seeming clout based on his house and his community, and that he was a man of action. He wanted to do things. He wanted to help Jesus, when Jesus was being tried and crucified. I sympathize with him, right? He was distraught. He was stressed. And you know what some of us do? I would say venture a lot of us do. It's easier to go work. It's easier to go drive, to go put your hands on something, to go do something, and then just keep going. So it's night. Everybody's feeling dejected. Peter's chilling with some of the other disciples, and he says, guys, I'm out. I'm going to fish. I'm going back to what I know works, right? Because I don't know what to do now. And the disciples were like, you know what, us too. We're coming, homie. And they all get in the boat. And it says they fished all night and caught nothing. Well, that's terrible, right? And probably uncharacteristic and more disheartening, because you're trying to stay busy, and instead you're on a boat in the middle of the night. Which, don't get me wrong, I like to sail. The stars are just amazing. And they caught nothing. And day starts to break, there's some dude on the shore. He waves, and he asks them, guys, you have any fish? Yelling across the water. It says they were like 100 yards out, about 80 cubits, I believe is what the reference said. 80 or 800? 80. I think it was 80. That's right. Because cubit's about 18 inches. Anyway. Hey guys, you got any fish? The disciples don't recognize this guy. And they just answer back, nope. The person tells them, cast your nets on the other side of the boat, on the right side of the boat. Whatever. They do. And what happens? They don't just get a catch of fish that they can't pull up into the boat. It says they get 153, which, whether that's an actual accurate detail or, as has been explained in some, or said about some writings in the Old Testament, that there were ages that were like honorific numbers based on the Jewish counting system. But in this case, it seems like an odd number. I don't know what base or what it would be counted. It seems like a very specific thing. And it's not just the small fish, like what they call a Peter fish, but these large fish. And it says they had 153 large fish, which I forget the species name, but they were huge, And Pastor had actually seen somebody pull them up once. They're very rare, apparently, to be catching in the Sea of Galilee, at least these days. And they pulled up 153 to the point they couldn't get them into the boat. But this time, the nets didn't burst. Someone recognizes, probably John, I forget. I think it says, it's the Lord. Peter, a man of action, is hot, he's sweaty, he's got his tunic on him, half naked. It's not proper to greet another gentleman in that culture in first century. So what does he do? He puts his clothes on and hops into the water. Not takes his clothes and swims. He gets fully dressed to meet the master, and he goes. And when he reaches the shore, Jesus is roasting fish and bread on a charcoal fire. And the only two times charcoal fire is mentioned in the Bible is that time and when Peter was warming his hands in the high priest court while Jesus was being tried over a charcoal fire. He denied him 3 times. And this is where Jesus asked him 3 times, do you agapeo me? And Peter doesn't understand. He was like, yeah, I philia you. You. I love you as a friend, which is what Jesus had previously said. No greater love than this, than a man laid down his life for a friend. So Peter's like, yeah, I'm ready to die for you. I thought I showed you that in the temple court. And Jesus says again, do you agape me? And Peter's just like, yeah, I phileo you. Jesus, Lord, I don't get it. And Jesus is telling him, out of the 4 kinds of love that we have in Greek in the New Testament, he's saying, do you love me so much that nothing else matters? That you'll follow me? That you can let this old life go and you're just going to follow me and depend on me? And if Peter gets it, he's scared. Because Jesus says twice agape, and the 3rd time phileo. And 3 times Peter answers him with phileo. But at that point, Jesus tells him, when you were young, you were dressed, you would tie your tunic, and you would go wherever you want to go. But when you're old, your hands are going to be tied, or your hands will be stretched out, your clothes will be tied, and you'll be led where you don't want to go. Sounds like prison or jail, right? So, I guess to round it all back to the last verse in here. What I heard today, one of the messages that I tried to relay in house church, because we had fasting and praying today in lieu of brunch or lunch like we normally do, that, and someone else said this in house church, in the actual church, that notice the nets didn't burst, right? The harvest that we're going to get doing the Lord's work, the abundance that we're going to experience, He's going to make us capable of taking it and keeping it. Not by our power. And that's what we were praying about today, is multiplying our house church. It's gotten so big, but it's also gotten comfortable. We all love each other. But the way in being disciples and making disciples isn't about sticking together. It's about going, right? Dispersing, making more house churches, making more disciples, being able to invite more people in. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. Other thing, it was part of that. This week it was bump week. So all the kids go back to school and go up in their classes. So we have various age groups for the kids' church, and some of them will move up, right? Pre-K goes to K, or pre-K K, I think it is, and then 1 to 5, I forget. Either way, my middle dude is now with the old guy, and we prayed over the children as a church today, and we blessed the children, but there was a lesson, and they gave all the kids a rock, right? And it's supposed to be a stone to remind them that they can take it with them all year. And God is our rock, is our stone. He's always with us. And in the Old Testament, this was a Ebenezer, right? They would put stones up to remember what God did, or to remember something. Remember an event. So I thought that was really neat today. I thought that was cool that all the kids got their own rock. They let anybody else who wanted one take one. So as a parent, I took one, and I'm going to keep it in my pocket. It's a little fidget stone, most likely. Something to twiddle with while I talk and pray. And to remember myself. So, that was neat. And it's nice. It was a nice gesture for the kids for the new year. So everybody was excited for Bump Week. And we got one for my niece, too, who's now a full-fledged firefighter and a young 20-something. But she was baptized about 2 years ago now. So, I told my wife, you haven't spent some time with her recently. You basically raised her. Take her to coffee. Bring her one of these stones. Tell her about it if she doesn't know. Tell her you're proud of her. So, not sure I have much else to say. I hope I didn't ramble too much this time to bore everybody to tears. I feel like I'm missing something, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. I realized I got a lot of artifacts in this one. I'm sorry. Finished my route. About to head home instead of working. And it is Sunday, after all. And go hang out with the kids, maybe build some Legos or put on a movie. Just be present with the kiddos. I've been thinking a lot about kind of the future of doing this. A couple of the guys on me again today about, yeah, we want to see you do a podcast. And it's like, y'all are probably the only ones, guys, because they say I bring the spice and the heat to our conversations, which I'll take as a compliment and an honor. But I did tell them today, like, hey, you know that Isaiah Saldivar video where he reacted to a guy casting out a demon from another guy on the street? Why are y'all being cowards? There are like 6 or 7 dudes in this group. Not one of y'all say, praise Jesus, we're for it. That's heresy, we're against it. Yo, bro, we're cessationists in our church or our group. Or, I wish I was more. Nothing, man. Like, I want some discussion. So hopefully you took that to heart. I'm always the one quick to offer an opinion or a controversial take in order to see if people can defend their positions, or, as I've said before, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted in academia, and I didn't get it. This is what I want out of friends. I want to be around righteous people that make me more righteous, and to be around wise people so I can become more wise. I've cut the fools off in my life. And you know, I just heard a message from, I think his name is Cap Chatfield. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, dude. I'll see it right after this. And it was about, like, don't ignore the people in your life that annoy you or you're trying to avoid. There's one person in particular that's gotten my goat. They hurt me. They hurt my body. They caused me a bunch of problems. Now they use my insurance or my address to falsify stuff so that they can send the medical bills that they're never going to pay somewhere. But they call me. I know it's them based on the area codes, the numbers of I've known this person so long that I can recognize them. But they're also part of a struggle that I was going through where they kind of ruined me so much with the phone and the computer that I don't even like touching my computer anymore, because it's like, oh, it's going to explode with messages and nonsense. And so I'm coming off that. It's been a while, but I am tempted to pick up the phone. I don't want to speak to them. But if they call me that much, I kind of want to know what they need. Because we all are called to love people, even our enemies. I wouldn't call this person my enemy. An very close friend, at least. I don't have a whole lot else to say, so I'm going to let everybody go that's happening to continue watching this. And, yeah, go with God. Be blessed. Watch the playback at apex.church if you got to watch something. You're not going to church, afraid of COVID. Let's try to start a virtual church. I think that's kind of where it's coming to for me. You know, the Lord's been kind of leading me that way. I don't feel qualified. I don't feel comfortable. I don't have the desire to do it. But if I can help some people out there, if I can bring more sheep to the shepherd, that's what I want to do. The Lord called us to be fishers of men, so I'm going to do my best. I exposed the house church today, some designs I've been working on, and hopefully I can complete those, and I would like to put them out on a t-shirt, so look forward to that, because I will buy my own t-shirt as a test print and make sure it came out how I like. And I'll show you guys. I got a hat. Not much for hats these days. I had a fedora phase, and I had a boonie hat and a ball cap and stuff like that I used to rely on. Once I put the hat on this hair, it's over. Not that it's going to be less messy, but then it's flat and even weirder. I look like, I don't know, like a cartoon character. But I really want to put the certain thing on a hat. So I'm going to do an embroidered ball cap and stand by to see what that looks like. So if that appeals to you, if anybody wants to help set up a page, a storefront, all these things that I would like to do, I would like to be building a community. If you look back at my very first videos, which has been a long time since I just did like some notes videos and stuff, that's what I'm looking for. And I know there are people out there that want to belong to a community. So if this is the kind of thing that appeals to you, is searching the word, trying to find wise people so we can become wise together, help me out. Like, share, subscribe, comment. The comments go a long way, and I really appreciate it. I don't often get them on these videos. It's often on the daily videos, and mostly it's like, this guy looks like he's Lord of the Rings, or, you know, whatever. Comments on the beard, the hair, the eyebrows. Thank the Lord for my ability to grow hair. But, I hope the attention it garners me serves the Lord. That's all I got. So, now that I've been recording for 30 minutes, told somebody I'm on the way, and should probably tell my wife that I finished early and need to make a stop, but I'll be on the way home. I'm going to go do that. Oh. Maybe I'll show everybody later. Let's see. See if I can even find it. I got my new fountain pen in, which I was interested in for sketching. I never buy myself stuff. I will often buy things for like a project, because it's like justified, right? Oh, I need these supplies to do this new hobby or whatever. But it's not often just something that I want. And I used to sketch a lot, and now sketching this app I was talking about, I wrote a book on sketching, and I don't even know what I did with it, but I was practicing with a fountain pen because I've never had one before. So I've been drawing these little sheep for 20 years. All right, I'll boss the page. I don't know why. I don't recall really how it started. But I'm going to do the sheep as an image as well. And part of me wants to start doing this like sheep a day. I've considered that before because I'm always drawing them, maybe slightly different. All right, I can't find it. I'll have to find it and show you guys. But practicing signing and practicing writing and the different strokes with this cool new pen. So maybe it'll help in my designs, I'm learning. All right, enough promising to stop ranting. This is like the Midwest goodbye. I'm just going to keep telling you I'm leaving without ever leaving. Be blessed and go with God.